now, please welcome your host, Kim Crable.
So, who likes basketball? Hello, everyone. If you can say yes, and my friend, today is your day. Well, kind of. Today, we will talk a little about basketball, but a lot more about a basketball player. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee. Conversations of Friends of Faith to encourage and equip. I'm Kim Crable, and I'm so thrilled to welcome you back. It's always good to have you join us. So, how many of you would say that God sent someone into your life at just the right time? Perhaps it was to encourage you, or to teach you, or maybe to just be a friend. I can certainly say that about today's guest. And I can also assure you that he wasn't just your average, everyday kind of guy. No, it was Michael Curry. That's right, the Michael Curry, the 6'5", highly skilled, completely dedicated professional basketball player who, at that time, played with the Detroit Pistons. Now, Michael went on to become the head coach of the Pistons, and he's also coached many other teams, which have earned him many prestigious awards, such as Coach of the Year. I cannot tell you how proud we are to know Michael and how much fun it has been following his career. But to us, the Crable family, Michael has always been and will always be that guy who showed up and allowed God to use him in a big way, not only on the court, but in our hearts. So today, guess who's with us? It's not just your ordinary everyday guy. It's Michael Curry. So grab your coffee, call a friend, and get ready, audience. Nobody wants to miss today's show. What an honor it is to have with us today Michael Curry. Michael, come on out. Thank you so much. Such a dream. Come on in and have a seat. I don't really know what to do with this thing. I'm just holding it, but you sure do. And I thank you for all that you have done. And before we get started, welcome. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And you know, I just have to show you all something, and it's so true, and I can barely talk about it without crying, what this man has meant to our family. We moved to Baltimore from Augusta, Georgia, and we didn't know anybody. And I had two young boys, and they needed a champion. They needed a hero to walk into their lives. And Michael Curry walked into our lives, and every time the Pistons would come to town, he would call and say, I'm here, I have tickets for you, and we have passes for afterwards. And you'll never know what your words and your inspiration meant to us and to the boys. And the boys were young then, and I want you to know this. Look at this. This is an O2. And this is our youngest. This is Austin, who is now a neurosurgeon, if you can believe that. But your words inspired and carried them through some really hard times in their lives. They were so alone. And to have someone that was bigger than life, Michael Curry, you know, that knew their name. And I just appreciate you so much.
Thank you. And that was special for me as well. They were great young men, and to see them now, and I feel older, but no, just to know that I could have an impact. And a lot of times, young people don't know they have an impact on us just as much as we have on them.
Yeah. That's such a good point. That's such a good point. Well, I know how much our boys loved you, and we always look so forward to it, and you made it so special. And so, Michael, I think a lot of today was just about honoring you and thanking you for all that you've meant. Many times, I think, as people, we don't even really understand the impact that we have on others' lives. Don't you think?
I think so. We go back, and as I've been sitting around and thinking even more of my time growing up, and my Sunday school teacher, Cedric Johnson, was amazing. And I think a lot of things, he made it cool to go to college. He made it cool to be in church. and all of us looked up to him. He's our youth Sunday school teacher, and he played a big part in me wanting to go to school. Actually, I majored in finance because he was a banker. And so he had a great impact on me growing up, and when you look back over things, and I look back over things in my life, he had a great impact throughout.
Yeah, that is, to have those people, you know, that will take that time. He took the time with you, right? Yes. He took that time. The most valuable, really the most valuable gift we have to give to others is our time. But you've had a great career with the Pistons and coaching and the Vanderbilt and all the places you've been. What caused you to fall in love with basketball?
I got better at basketball as I grew up. I actually grew up really loving football, but I moved toward basketball probably 7th, 8th grade, and I never knew I would be a professional basketball player. Never knew I would be a college basketball player. Just enjoyed competing. I'm very competitive, so whether it was being in basketball or being in band, and I played the trumpet, I wanted to be the first seat. I fought for that, and being in ROTC, I wanted to be the highest ranking officer that I could be. It's just the competitive nature in me. But what I learned over time, that competitive nature drove me, and I became a better basketball player, and was able to get a basketball scholarship to Georgia Southern. Had very good teammates, very good teams while I was there at Georgia Southern, and even got better during my years there. Started off my professional career in Europe and the minor leagues, and was able to make it about 4 years in to the NBA and spend the rest of my time there.
Well, I've heard how in being competitive and all the things that you encounter in that world, because it is a big world out there of people probably vying for your time, and probably, even negative things vying for your time. But you seem to always stay that humble person who just kind of stayed in their lane and did what they did. What were some principles for someone that's even in the business, finances, or anything? What are some principles that kind of led you, that kind of kept you who Michael Curry is?
Well, my parents wouldn't allow me to stray too far, so they were they provided a great amount of discipline. So we were very disciplined. They believed in working hard. They believed in not only being good to others, but understanding and having empathy for everyone and their life challenges and their life, so that they'll walk in the things that they've been able to do. But my mom's mother, my grandmother, Julia Weeks, she, from a spiritual standpoint, she was my prayer partner. So throughout college, especially, and the times in the NBA, she would call me at different times, and we would pray. She would send me different scripture, and she was always wanting to make sure that I stayed grounded with the Lord. And my parents was always going to make sure I stayed grounded that way also, but it was just another buffer to make sure that I continued to do that, and just make sure I stayed grounded as a young man. I think a lot of my journey of getting to the NBA, being a professional athlete, wasn't a typical professional athlete journey. No one saw me at 10 or 11 years old and said, that's going to be a professional basketball player one day. But I had a lot of people that helped me along that way to be the best middle school basketball player I could be, or best student I can be, all the way through high school. So a lot of people had their hands on me. We stayed very active in the church, and so that helped keep you grounded away from athletics. So I think the whole community type theme was really true when it came to me, that a lot of people had their hands on me, with my growth and development. A lot of people were praying for me, and I think I'm sure that's why I was able to have some of the success that I had.
Well, you've had a lot of success, and you can just see the humility in this man and why we just love him so much. And, you know, someone like that you just want to see just go and do, and that's what we've seen in Michael. And I just, I don't know, you just meant so much to the Crable family. Let me ask you this. You know, it's a difficult world in which we live right now. And there are a lot of things, you know, even with businessmen and wives, and it can be really hard. And right now, depression is at its you know, a high because of everything that's going on. What would you say to someone? I'm sure in your career and all of us that we've had these times where it's like, I just want to give up. I don't even know what to do. What would you say to someone like that? What kept you going during the really hard times?
As I mentioned before, I think the community, the family, you know, I was able to meet my lovely wife young, and we're almost 34 years now married, and so
34 years,
34
yay,
years, yeah.
that's great.
And so I've always had someone to go through this journey with me.
Yes.
I think when I think about that and what kept me going and through tough times, it was something I mentioned recently. My youngest daughter just turned 30. Our youngest child, she's 30 years old, and we were talking, and everyone went around the table at breakfast and kind of gave encouraging words, you know, to keep her moving forward. And I told her, I said, well, I was on my walk this morning, and I said, I read a definition. And I said, anybody know what this definition of? And of course, one of my sons said, impossible. And I said, absolutely. I said, the definition I just read is impossible. And I say, if you look up the word perfect, for me, the definition should be C, impossible. Oh. Because I think we live in a world of, and when you play sports, you're trying to achieve perfection, but you're never going to be perfect. You know, baseball, if you can hit 3 out of 10 times, you're a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
Basketball, if you can make 5 out of 10 shots, you're probably going to be a Hall of Famer. Yeah. You can win half your games, you're successful, you're probably going to be in the playoffs. So the reality is, what you're striving to be is, you know, perfect in your journey. To me, that's what I think. But it's impossible to reach perfection and stay at perfection. You can have a perfect moment, but you're not going to stay perfect. I think a lot of young people today, I think they want to be perfect, and because of that, you know, we in an age of social media. Not only when they have some stumbles, they are able to hear everybody else tell them that they've failed and they've had stumbles, and so that's not going away. I knew social media is not going to go anywhere, and so, you know, my thing was. We kind of stayed away from it years ago because the coaches always told you, if you want to know if you're playing well, if I play you the next game, you're playing well. So you never worried about what was said in the newspaper. And I've actually read things later on and was like, oh man, they said that. And, you know, but yeah. that is big for young people. And, yes. And in order to do that, during my career, I had to stay in the moment, and I had to try to be the best I can be today. Yes. And I've always kind of been that guy of, what can I do today? How can I be the best version of myself today? And if I do everything I can to do that, I live with the results. Mm.
Well, what a message, huh? What a message. Absolutely. Oh, my goodness. Okay. I can tell that we have some people out here that love to ask you some questions. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, you all get ready. We have 2 or 3 people. We can take 2 or 3 questions. Will Willing to do that?
Perfect.
All right, we'll be right back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee. We are so blessed to have Michael Curry in the house today, Detroit Pistons head coach, other teams, his principles, and what he has lived by and what he has caused himself to mean in so many other people's lives is so honorable and something I think that we can all learn from. It's something that we can see is manageable and we can do in our lives. So again, aren't we so happy to have him with us today? What a great thing. So thank you, Michael, again for joining us. And we have some questions from the audience. Who has a question? Come on up.
My question for you is, what is the best decision you ever made?
Wow.
Shall I have her stand up?
I think.
His wife right here.
Yes, my wife is absolutely. And I think I can answer that one with two parts. And the first part allowed the second part to take place. And I think the first part is me accepting Christ as my personal Savior. I think when I say that, because I learned, I've always had a spiritual background. I always had understanding that I wasn't going to be perfect. I was going to be forgiven for the mistakes I would make. And it also it was my moral compass. And because of that, I was able to meet my young bride. And, been married now, it'll be 34 years. But she also helped be that compass for me. And I didn't have to go on my adulthood journey by myself. A lot of times, a lot of things come at all of us. But when you have some help on that journey and having God and having others praying for me and then having a praying wife with me during that journey, it hasn't stopped from not having anything come up, but it's definitely has helped make that journey a lot smoother.
Oh, wonderful. Absolutely. That is great. And what about our next question? Do we have someone else? Yes, come on up. Bet you never thought you were going to be able to talk to Michael Curry, did you?
No. Such an honor. My question is, what advice would you give to aspiring athletes?
Good question.
Great question. We talk to young athletes all the time as they try to be very good in their sports that they're playing. A lot of them have aspirations one day of being professional athletes. But I take something from something I heard Steve Ballmer, who's now the owner of the Clippers. He said that my oldest son's father-son breakfast at Detroit Country Day, and they were asking him about who they look for at Microsoft, what profession, what degrees in college did they need to major in. And he said the biggest thing they look for is someone that's passionate about what they're doing. So the first thing that I would tell all athletes, be passionate about the sport that you're playing, okay? Because if you're passionate about it, I don't have to talk to you about working hard. I don't have to tell you, go early, stay late. All those things when you're passionate about, you're going to do. Now, the next part of that is being disciplined with the things that you're being taught, because all sports come down to, it's very small, the difference between a great player and a good player and a good player and a so-so player. So attention to detail is always very important. A lot of games, as we always talk about on a professional level, a lot of games go down to the last 4 minutes. So attention to detail and what you're doing is a big part of that. And so being disciplined, being passionate, attention to detail, and putting the work in, and then enjoying the journey. And if you do those things, you'll be able to get to wherever your talent can take you.
Ooh, love that, love that. Do we have any other questions? Yes, come on up.
What piece of advice would you give to parents of the aspiring athletes?
Wow, that's a really good one. I think that parents of the aspiring athletes have to understand that it's a journey, and go on that journey. Be support on that journey. Be a supporter on that journey. You can't be baggage on that journey. And what I mean by that is, you can't be someone that they're worried about trying to please on that journey or trying to get to their goals within their journey because it's too much. They actually, if they have a chance to one day be a high school athlete, possibly a college athlete, and who knows, one day a professional athlete, all journeys, all levels are very difficult. There's a lot of people that you're competing against. And so you need people on that journey with you for sure, but they need to be in a more supportive role and not so much of a role. When I say baggage, it's the pressure and it's that they got to carry you on that journey. They can't carry you because the journey is too tough. They need you to basically kind of push and elevate them on that journey.
Great question. You know, I have a question. I have a question. One thing I know about you, Michael, is that while being an athlete was very important to you, academics was as well. You've gone on to get your master's degree. What kind of message is that to aspiring athletes and their parents about education?
Well, education was always preached in my home that I was going to go to college. And it's funny because my father graduated high school and he went into the military. And my mom spent 1 year in college. Then she came out of college, and so she only had 1 year of college education. But from a small kid, they always told me I was going to college and I was going to be a college graduate. What I learned during that journey in college, and the education and the experiences were the key. The things that you were learning, the experiences that you were gaining, were giving you tools to help you along the journey of life. Sports going to end very young, you know. And what I mean by very young, you know, you take LeBron James right now, he's 39, he's 21 years of professional basketball. If he plays 3 more years, he's 42 years old. That's very young. Hopefully that's very young. That's what you would hope. You know, now what do you do for the rest of your lifespan? You know, if he lives to be 84, 42 more years, what do you do those other 42 years? A lot of it is going to be based off of your experiences, your education that you've gained, the knowledge that you've gained during that journey. And I think that that's what's helped me. And I went back probably at the peak of my earnings, 10 years in, and went back to school and got my master's degree. And still to this day, it's one of the best things I've done because it's always been able to stick out on my resume, especially the fact that I went back and had the discipline to go back and get a master's degree while I was still playing.
Absolutely. That is so. You just don't see that a lot. And I just, what a message for our youth that, yes, you know, pursue athletes, but that mind, pursue that mind. So, well, how about today? How great has this been having Michael Curry in the house? Well, can I tell you, I found out something.
Uh-oh.
It's his birthday. Happy birthday to you. Come on, people. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Michael. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. Make a wish.
Are you surprised?
Very, very surprised. Thank you all.
Absolutely. day. Oh, what a great day. That was, yes, there we go. And we have a knife here somewhere if anybody wants a piece of cake. Oh my gosh, what Michael, to all your fans, and you have so many, what would be just like, have a seat, what would be like your final word to them today? What does Michael Curry want to just say to everyone today?
I think that you're as a former athlete, coach, player, I want to be remembered more about the person. Yeah. And I think that, and I've heard that growing up, you know, being remembered more about who you are, yes, instead of what you've done is important. And so those are the things that I kind of stood by. And they've been pretty good for 56 years, so I ride with that.
Yeah, I'll ride with that. And we'll ride with that too, right? And this is 20 of them right here of how you've just kept us inspired. And who knows, but that you didn't, and I'm sure you did, you know, this little boy who was completely out of his element, who just needed someone who believed in him, that went on to pursue his education because he thought it was that important. So from us, we just want to thank you for being Michael Curry. Great basketball player, but just a great human being. We just love you so much. So audience, say thank you to Michael Curry. Well, Michael's given us a whole lot to think about and talk about, a lot to aspire to today. And you know, I like what he said. We don't have to strive for perfection, just being the best that you can be that day. And it's not about what you do, it's about who you are. And that makes all of us equal. We can go out today and just be the best who God created us to be today. So we've started a great conversation here today. I hope that you will continue it right in your home, right in your neighborhood. Thanks for joining us today.